Welcome to this explainer. Look, we all know the cloud is the backbone of modern infrastructure, right? But here's the thing. The traditional perimeter, it's totally vanished. We're not locking physical server rooms anymore. We're trying to manage this massive, invisible web of digital identities. So today, we're cracking open the absolute most critical piece of your digital defense, overcoming the IAM challenge. Okay, let's dive right into this. Have you actually stopped to think about who or what is guarding your sensitive data up there? I mean, it's definitely not just a firewall anymore. Every single time a user, an app, or a server tries to access your resources, a gatekeeper makes a split-second decision. Let them in or keep them out. And honestly, if you don't fully understand how that gatekeeper operates, your data is completely exposed. Section 1. Meet the cloud's bouncer. So IAM, it stands for Identity and Access Management. Basically, it's the system responsible for managing access to your cloud resources, making sure only the authorized users actually get in. Now, I know the definition sounds super simple, but IAM represents literally one of the biggest operational challenges in cloud computing today. If you get it right, your cloud is an absolute fortress. But if you get it wrong, yeah, the front door is practically wide open. Think of IAM like the ultimate security bouncer at a really exclusive VIP club. When someone walks up to the door, this bouncer doesn't just, ask for a name. They verify exactly who you are and then cross-reference a highly specific list to see what you're actually allowed to do inside. Can you enter the main room? Sure. The VIP vault with all the sensitive customer data? Absolutely not, unless you've got the exact right clearance. IAM is that tireless bouncer. Moving on to Section 2, IAM best practices. So setting this up correctly really comes down to 3 essentials. First up is least privileged access. This is the golden rule, guys. Give your guests a standard ticket, not an all-access backstage pass. Second, strong passwords and MFA. That's multi-factor authentication. This is essentially like asking for both a passport and a fingerprint to prove someone's identity. And third, monitor and audit activity. Because you can't just let the bouncer work entirely unobserved, right? You've got to watch the cameras to catch breaches before they spiral out of control. Next up, Section 3, common security mistakes. The most common mistake organizations make is actually a direct violation of that golden rule we just talked about, overprivileging users. It happens all the time. An admin gets a little relaxed, or maybe they're just tired of constant access requests, so they grant blanket admin rights to someone who literally just needs to read a single file. You're effectively giving a standard club goer the keys to the cash register. And if that account gets compromised, well, the attacker owns your entire kingdom. Then there's the trap of stale keys. Failing to rotate your access keys regularly is a massive ticking time bomb. Think of these keys as digital VIP passes for your programs. If you leave a key active for years, it's eventually going to get exposed. Maybe it gets pushed to a public repository by mistake or stolen in a phishing attack. Bottom line, if your bouncer isn't regularly changing the locks, a breach isn't just possible, it's completely inevitable. All right, Section 4, I am in the real world. And this brilliantly illustrates how, across all the major cloud platforms, the fabric is basically the same. Whether you're running on AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud, IAM wraps around all your foundational resources: storage, compute, and databases. So in AWS, IAM dictates exactly who gets to peek into S3 buckets or spin up EC2 instances. Over in Azure, it manages storage accounts and virtual machines. And in Google Cloud, it's locking down cloud storage and compute engine. The names change, sure, but the bouncer's job is completely identical. Let's bring this home with some concrete scenarios. Imagine a developer working on a massive project with AWS S3 buckets. Obviously, you can't leave those open to the public internet. So you write a strict policy that basically says only our backend application servers can read this specific bucket. Or take an enterprise using Azure virtual machines. They rely heavily on custom IAM roles, so an HR employee can't, accidentally reboot the primary database server. It's all about writing those meticulous ironclad rules for your bouncer to follow. Which brings us to a really critical question for your own setup. Is your cloud infrastructure handing out a backstage pass to everyone? As we've seen, IAM is the absolutely indispensable bouncer of your environment. If you aren't rigorously enforcing least privilege, using MFA, and actively rotating those keys, you're basically handing out backstage passes to anyone who walks up to the door. So don't leave your VIP section unguarded, lock down your IAM policies, empower your bouncer, and secure your cloud. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.